dadati swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalan Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gourangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priya Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. We begin by reading from Srimad Bhagavatam because the very first verse that we recited today, we said, Tato Jaya Mudirayet, that Srimad Bhagavatam is the very means of conquest. You see, everyone in this world is trying to conquer something. When we are in material life, there are things we are trying to conquer. We are trying to conquer the corporate ladder. We're trying to conquer over our health problems. We're trying to conquer over the neighbor, isn't it? In the Western world, they say keeping up with the Joneses. In India, we say keeping up with the Patels. We're trying to have more, be more than our neighbor. And in this way, in the material world, everyone is trying to conquer something. But when we come to Krishna consciousness, then we realize all of those conquests are useless. Even if I have a bigger car than my neighbor, even if I have a better bank balance than my neighbor, even if I climb to the top of the corporate ladder, still, what does that conquest do? It doesn't bring fulfillment. Rather, yehi shamsparsha jaboga dukkha yonaya evate, Krishna says. All of that sukha of the material world, that conquering to get material enjoyment, we later on realize is the dukkha yoni. Yoni means the womb, isn't it? So sukha, material happiness, is actually the dukkha yoni, is the womb of distress, because with sukha then dukkha is born. Therefore, when we become a devotee, we realize it's all useless, but then we are still on a mission. We are still on a conquest as a devotee. The first thing the devotee is trying to do is to conquer their own mind and senses, isn't it? The mind, lobha moy sudurmati, isn't it? The tongue, jive fele vishaya shagore tare madhye jivayati. The tongue is so difficult to control, the mind, the desires. So the first thing we're trying to conquer is our own mind and senses. Later on, even if we've controlled our mind and senses, we are trying to conquer our material desires. Yes, if we can overcome our material desires. Prahlad Maharaj, when he offered a benediction by Nishingadev, then he says, I don't want anything, but one thing you can give me if you want to give me a benediction. Yadi dasyasi me kaman, that may all the material desires within my heart disappear. So later on, we're trying to conquer our material desires. Then later on, we're trying to conquer the ignorance in the world by preaching, by sharing Krishna consciousness. And then Because in Bhagavad Gita, I said, Ye yatha mam prapadyante, that I will reward them accordingly to how they surrender. But you've made me contradict my words, because napareye ham niravadya samyujam. For your surrender, I'm unable to repay you. You've conquered me by your love, because you are ready to pour everything on the line for me. Therefore, when Krishna played the flute, then the gopis, they dropped everything and they ran to Krishna. And because they gave up everything for Krishna, Krishna gave up his heart to them. That's what it means to conquer Krishna. So why am I talking all of this about conquering? We are, as devotees, on a mission to conquer many, many things. But one thing we have to remember, tato jayamudira yet. The Bhagavatam is the very means of conquest. If you want to know how to conquer your senses, keep the Bhagavatam close. If you want to know how to conquer your material desires, keep the Bhagavatam close. If you want to know how to conquer your pride, sometimes we think, I'm a big devotee. One time a devotee said, oh, Prabhupada, he's a big devotee. Prabhupada said, big devotee? Narad Muni is a big devotee. Narad Muni is a big devotee. So you want to conquer pride? Keep the Bhagavatam close. And if you want to conquer Krishna's heart, if you want to know the key to how Krishna can be conquered, then you have to keep the Bhagavatam close. The beauty of the Bhagavatam is that it is the most advanced, and at the same time, is the most accessible and simple. Right? This is the incredible nature of the Bhagavatam. Sarve Vedanta Sadam hi Srimad Bhagavatam Ishyate. That of all the Vedanta, the very sar, the very essence is Srimad Bhagavatam. So it's the highest of philosophy. But at the same time, the Bhagavatam is intelligible and understandable to anyone, provided they are free from envy and they are thoroughly honest. So it's available for everyone. So Srila Prabhupada, he gave us the Bhagavatam, and in this way we have been gifted something amazing. Today we'll read from the Bhagavatam, and the topic for today is so simple, you may just miss it. Because Srila Prabhupada once said this to His Grace Tribhuvanath Prabhu. Srila Prabhupada looked at Tribhuvanath Prabhu and he said, Krishna consciousness is so simple. It's so simple, you may just miss it. Because we have a tendency to make everything very, very complicated. But actually, Krishna consciousness is very, very simple. But it means we have to stay focused on the essence. Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he says, Vaishnav means Saragrahi. You understand the word? Saragrahi means the Vaishnav is able to grasp the essence. So we should always remember what is the essence. And today, I'll read first one verse from the Bhagavatam. So this verse appears in the 10th canto, 2nd chapter. And this is the prayers of the demigods who are praying for Krishna, or for the appearance of Krishna, who is currently in the womb of his mother, Devaki. Dvai ambuja shakila sattva dhamni samadhina veshita cheta shaike Tvatpadapotena mahatkritena kurvanti govatsa padam bhavabdim. So I'll just read the translation and the first two paragraphs of the purport just to keep our discussion focused today. At any point while I'm speaking, if you have any questions or you want to know more or you have any comments, then please put them in the chat. And then we will save some time at the end to discuss. Translation. O lotus-eyed Lord, by concentrating one's meditation on your lotus feet, which are the reservoir of all existence, And by accepting those lotus feet as the boat by which to cross the ocean of nescience, one follows in the footsteps of the Mahajans, great saints, sages, and devotees. By this simple process, one can cross the ocean of nescience as easily as one steps over the hoof print of a calf. So this material world is a big ocean. And if we take shelter of the Lord's lotus feet, then by this simple process, one can cross across that vast ocean, just as we can walk across the water in a calf's hoof print. Purport. The true mission in life, remember, everyone's on a conquest, everyone's on a mission. The true mission in life is to cross the ocean of nescience, of repeated birth and death. Those in the darkness of ignorance, however, do not know this mission. Instead, being carried away by the waves of material nature, prakrite kriyamanani gune karmani sharvashaha, Bhagavad Gita 3:27, they are undergoing the tribulations of mrityu samsara vartmani, Bhagavad Gita 9:3, repeated birth and death. But a person who has achieved knowledge by the association of devotees follows the Mahajans, Mahatkritena. Such a person always concentrates his mind upon the lotus feet of the Lord and executes one or more of the 9 varieties of devotional service. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Padasevanam. 7.5.23 Srimad Bhagavatam. Simply by this process, one can cross the insurmountable ocean of nescience. Devotional service is powerful in any form. Shri Vishnu Shravane Parikshita Bhavet Vaya Shaki Kirtane Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 12265. According to this verse, Maharaj Parikshit became liberated by fully concentrating his mind on hearing the Lord's holy name, attributes, and pastimes. Similarly, Sukadev Goswami simply glorified the Lord, and by speaking on the subject matters of Krishna that constitute the entire Srimad Bhagavatam, he too was liberated. One may also be liberated simply by sakya, friendly behavior with the Lord. Such is the power of devotional service, as we learn from the examples set by the Lord's many pure devotees. So the purport does carry on, but we'll come back to it later if we have time. But today we'll just focus on these first 2 paragraphs. When we surrender to Krishna, it becomes very easy to cross the ocean of material existence. Otherwise, this ocean of material existence is too vast. There's too many waves. There's too many creatures in it which devour us. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was traveling in South India, it said that he delivered the entire west, the entire south of India, which was filled with the crocodiles of many different philosophies. So in this ocean of the material world, there's many waves, there's many ups and downs, there's many crocodiles of different ideas. And it's very, very easy to get tempted. It's very easy to get diverted. It's very easy to get distracted. And it's very, very easy to leave the path of Krishna consciousness. Once Prabhupada, he said, don't be surprised who stays. Sorry, he said, don't be surprised who leaves. He said, be surprised who stays. Because in this age, it's not easy to stay fixed on this path. But if one surrenders, if one stays meditated on the Lord's lotus feet, it's possible. One has to be focused. There's a very beautiful story of Lord Ram and Sita and Lakshman who were going to begin their time in Vanavas, their exile in the forest. And as they came to the river, there was a boatman. And the boatman agreed to take Ram, Sita, and Lakshman to the other side. And so as he took them to the other side, they reached the shore of the other side, and Ram said, I must repay you something. See, in this world, if someone does something for you, you have to repay. That is gratitude. Kritagya, to know what has been done for you. So he said, I should do something for you because you have done for me. So then Ram, he looked at Sita and he said, take your, I don't have any, no gold coins, no treasury with me. But Sita, you take your pearl necklace off and give it to this boatman. So as soon as Sita began taking her pearl necklace off, the boatman said, no, there's no need. Ram said, there is a need because you gave us some seva, I should repay. So the boatman said, no, it's okay. We have an agreement in this part of the territory. We have an agreement in this area that every boatman gives every other boatman a ride for free. So Ram said, you're a boatman, but I'm not a boatman. I'm the son of Dasarath. I'm a prince. Eventually, I'll go back and rule the kingdom. No, the boatman said, I am a very small boatman because I carry a few living beings from that side of the river to this side. But Ram, you are the biggest boatman because you can carry unlimited living entities across the ocean of the material world. Mrityu samsara sagarat. You can take them to the other. So we have a deal. Every boatman gives every other boatman a ride for free. So yes, this is the nature. If you serve Krishna, Krishna is so grateful. Krishna is so kind. And it's a very, very simple process. It's very, very easy. Rupa Goswami, he has given 64 items of devotional service, isn't it? And then from those 64 items, we say there are 5 items which are very, very powerful. And it said that those 5 items, simply by a little bit of contact with them, Sakalai sadhana shreshta e pancha anga, Krishna prema janmaya e panchera alpa sangha. The 5 most powerful types of devotional service, all of you are familiar. Sadhu Sangha, to associate with the Vaishnavas. Bhagavad Shravan, to hear Bhagavatam. Nama Kirtan, to chant the holy name. Then Murti Seva, to worship the deity. Mathura Vas, to stay in the Dham. So somehow or other, we have to make these 5 things part of our daily life. More and more, we have to try to engage in these 5 powerful forms of devotional service, because Kaviraj Goswami says, Sakala sadhana shreshta. Of all types of sadhana, shreshta. These 5, a pancha anga, these 5 are the shreshta, the best. And what does Kaviraj Goswami says? Krishna prema janmaya ek. Love for Krishna comes about panchera alpa sangha, even by some small contact with these 5 processes. So these 5 processes are very, very powerful. But these 5 processes have to be done with a pure and simple mind. And what I'm going to show you today is that Bhagavatam teaches us, and Chaitanya Charitamrita teaches us, that there's a way in which we can be doing these 5 processes of devotional service and we can miss the point. Because of our complicated mind, we can actually miss the essence of what these processes of devotional service can give us. And in order to do that, I'm going to show you some different verses. So the first powerful form of devotional service is Nama Kirtan, chanting, isn't it? Chanting Krishna's names. But then what does the Chaitanya Charitamrita tell us? Bahu janma kore jadi shravana kirtan tabutana paya Krishna pade prema dhan. If one is infested with the 10 offenses in the chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, despite his endeavor to chant the holy name for many births, He will not get the love of Godhead that is the ultimate goal of this chanting. We can chant and we can completely miss the point. If we chant, but we're inattentive, if we chant, but we don't give the full focus and priority to that activity, if we chant, but we still do other things in our life which are detrimental and contrary to chanting, then Chaitanya Charitamrita tells us, Bahu Janma, it may take many, many lifetimes. Therefore, what we often tell people is the very simple formula: attention leads to attraction, which leads to attachment. Attention leads to attraction, which then brings about attachment. But if we chant inattentively, if we chant while committing offenses, then we're going to miss the point. It's such a simple thing to chant and go back home, back to Godhead. But if we're not making a concerted effort to avoid the offenses, if we're not making a concerted effort to overcome inattention, and it all begins with the right habits, you just have to one day make a vow. I'm never going to chant while I'm driving. Just from this day on, I'm never going to do it. You have to make a vow later on that from this day on, I make a vow that I'm going to chant all of my rounds before I take lunch. You can just make a vow. You can do it. One year, it was now Purushottam Masa is coming, so many devotees are thinking of what vow to make. And one time Kartik was coming and I was thinking, what vow shall I make? Because I don't have any extra time to do any more rounds or do more reading. I don't have any time. So you know what I did that year? I made a vow that I'm not going to chant extra rounds, but what I'm going to do is I vow in the month of Kartik to chant all of my 16 rounds in one go, sitting in one place without being distracted and interrupted by anything. And you know what? That was an incredible vow because it really helped me to chant with more quality. So remember, it's so simple. You may just miss it. All you need to do is chant and be present and avoid the offenses. Don't miss out on the opportunity. It's very, very simple. We may go to the holy Dham, Mathura Vas, but the Shastra tells us you may perform this very powerful anga of devotional service, but the Shastra tells us that many people miss the point. Yatirtha buddhi shalile nakar hichich janeshva bhigyeshu sa eva go khara. The Bhagavatam tells us that if you go to Mathura Mandal or you go to any tirtha and you see that place of pilgrimage as merely the water, but you never develop relationships with the devotees who are there, you never hear Bhagavad Katha from the Vaishnavas who are there, you never take the opportunity of Sadhu Sangha, which is available in the Dham, then you've basically missed the point. If you chant, but you can commit offense and you're inattentive, you've missed the point of chanting. If you go to the holy Dham, but you don't associate with devotees and hear from them, you've missed the point of going to the holy Dham. Because the holy Dham is powerful because the devotees have come there in their purity, and their purity is what's able to reveal the Dham to us. Otherwise, we cannot see the Dham. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says the holy Dham is like an ocean which is covered by a thin layer of oil. And if you look at it superficially, then you will think this is just an ocean of oil. But when you dig a little bit beyond the surface, then you can see, oh, there's an ocean of jewels inside. So when we go to the Dham, we need to spend time with the Vaishnavas because they help us to have that deeper vision. But if one goes and one only thinks to take some blessings from some places, That is nice, but you've actually missed the real point of going to the Dham. Therefore, when Srila Prabhupada went with Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, at one point, all the devotees were Sheshashai. Sheshashai is right on the edge of Vrindavan, and Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur was lecturing there. And in the morning, everyone had practically left, and Srila Prabhupada and a few devotees had stayed there to listen to Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, I have noted him. He likes to hear. All of these people have gone to see these places in the Dham, but what will they hear? Ase Shruta Kshitapato Nanunatha Pumsam. We have to do Shruta Ikshita. We have to hear, we have to see through the ears. And so he said, I've noted this Abhay. He likes to listen. He does not go away. So in the Dham, this is what we have to do. And if we go to the Dham, but we don't have quality Vaishnav Sangha, then we've missed the point. Another powerful form of devotional service is Murti Seva. This verse appears in the 11th canto of Bhagavatam in the instructions by the Nava-yogendras. Archaya meva haraye pujam ya shadaye hate natad bhakte shuchanyeshu sabhakta prakrita smrita. If one faithfully engages in the worship of the deity in the temple, but does not behave properly toward other devotees or people in general, they are called a prakrita bhakta, a materialistic devotee, and they are considered to be in the lowest position. Here is another way in which you can miss the point. If you do deity worship, if you worship the Murti, but we don't know how to deal with the Vaishnavas, if we are insensitive, if we are harsh, if we are unkind, if we are unforgiving, if we fail to make deep connections of love with the Vaishnavas, then basically our deity worship hasn't actually been done properly. The 7th canto of the Bhagavatam actually explains when and why deity worship was introduced. Of course, deity worship was always going on, but when and why was it introduced as a standard practice? I don't know how many of you know this, but in the 7th canto of the Bhagavatam, it's explained that deity worship was introduced at the beginning of Treta Yuga. And the reason that deity worship was introduced at the beginning of Treta Yuga is because the sages saw that in the world, insensitive and unkind dealings between living entities had begun. And because they saw that the relationships between individuals are now becoming more degraded, then they introduced worship of the deity. Because the idea is that when we worship the deity, Shraddhaya Seva, with faith, then what happens is it cleanses your mind, it cleanses your consciousness, it makes you more sensitive, it makes you more aware, and it makes you more equipped to then see the deity within the heart of all living entities. So if you do deity worship, but your relationship with the devotees is not improving, then we must understand that the real fruit of deity worship is not coming about. Because if you just think, or if we just think that it's about me and Krishna, me and the deity and the devotees, no, that's a big mistake. Ye me bhakta jana partha, na me bhaktas tate janaha. Krishna says in Adi Purana, one who thinks he's my direct devotee is not my devotee, but one who's the devotee of my devotee is actually my devotee. So therefore, if we do deity worship, but we don't respect the devotees, then we've missed the point. That's what Bhagavatam is telling us. Sadhu Sangha. We may get an opportunity to be surrounded by Vaishnavas, but if we don't develop good qualities in their Sangha, in our own being, then we can understand that the real fruit of Sadhu Sangha has not taken place. You understand? It is said that when we associate with saintly people, then the natural effect is that we must absorb those saintly qualities within our own being. But if those saintly qualities are not coming into our being, then we must understand that we are not associating properly. This is a very, very famous verse from the 78th chapter of the 10th canto. I always remember this verse because this verse was printed and framed and kept hanging in the library in the Chaupati Brahmachari Ashram. I don't know if they still have it there. When I was there, they had this, this verse on the wall. And the context of the verse is that Romaharshan Sutta is in Naimisharanya, and many, many sages have gathered around him, and he is basically reciting Bhagavad Katha. But in that assembly of Bhagavad Katha, Balaram comes. And when Balaram comes, everyone shows respect, but Romaharshan Sutta does not come off the Vyasasana and pay his obeisances. He does not show Balaram the appropriate respect. In other words, he displays that although he's been reciting Bhagavatam in the association of all these sadhus, still he has not developed good qualities. And then Balaram says to him, Adantasya vinitasya vrita panditamanina nagunaya bhavanti sma natasyeva jitatmanaha. Balaram says, you have been reciting Bhagavatam with all the sadhus, but your study and your association with these Vaishnavas is just like an actor studying his part. You are an actor, you're not real. You're just reciting all of these things, but you're not living it because you have not developed self-controlled habits, you're not humble, and you think, Vrita, Pandita, Manina, you think you're some kind of scholarly authority, but you haven't even learned to conquer your own mind. So when we associate with devotees, if we don't actively try to develop good qualities, saintly qualities, then we must understand that we're missing the point. And Bhagavad Shravan, we can hear Bhagavatam, but simply studying Bhagavatam, you can also miss the point. This verse appears in the Chaitanya Charitamrita when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu goes to East Bengal. And in East Bengal, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu meets with many, many different individuals. But one of the individuals he meets with is someone called Tapan Mishra. And Tapan Mishra is a great scholar, but he is not happy. And this is what he submits to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That I've studied so many things, but I still don't feel happiness. And therefore Chaitanya Mahaprabhu tells him, Bahu Shastre Bahu Vakya Chitte Brahma Hoy Sadhya Sadhana Shreshta Na Hoy Nishchoy. That is not simply by becoming a bookworm and reading many, many books and scriptures and hearing many, many commentaries that you'll be able to understand the ultimate goal of life. You can't do it just by reading. And therefore, although Bhagavat Shravan is one of the angas of devotional service, the most powerful angas, we must always remember that Bhagavat Shravan has to be done in a certain way. Otherwise, even while doing Bhagavat Shravan, we can miss the point. And what is that? Guru Sadhu Shastra Vakya Chitete Koriya Aikya. We have to study in the association of others, in the association of sadhus, in the association of the saintly personalities. What I'm trying to share with you here is that the process of Krishna consciousness is very simple. But what happens is we can get sidetracked, and what happens is we do the action, but we don't give the proper attention, and we don't do it with the right intention. Krishna consciousness is simple, but what it means is that we have to do the action with the attention, with the right intention. And most of the time, we are missing on 1, 2, and sometimes even 3 of these. And therefore, Krishna consciousness, for many people, they say, I've been practicing, but I don't feel it. It's not working for me. Maybe there's something wrong with the process, but no, we have to do the action with the attention, with the proper intention. And we have to focus on the essence. We have to remember. Recently, we were doing the ceremony of some Vaishnavas to immerse their ashes in the Ganga. And so that's a very, it's a ceremony. When we do that ceremony, naturally we are thinking so much about our lives. So we went to the Ganga in Mayapur, and then we immersed the ashes of the Vaishnavas into the Ganga. And as the ashes were going into the Ganga, then in my mind, I was thinking, at the end of life, you cannot take your beads with you. But what you can take is the taste you have for the holy name. I was thinking in that moment that at the end of life, you cannot take your library of books with you. You cannot take your notebooks with you. But what you can take is the genuine realization that you have in your heart of the Krishna conscious philosophy. In those moments, I was thinking, at the end of life, you can't take your position with you. You can't take your title with you. But what you can take with you is your service attitude, the genuine desire to serve the Vaishnavas. That you can take with you. And I was thinking, at the end of life, you can't even take the Vaishnavas with you. But if we've developed some genuine love for them in our heart, then that loving connection means we'll always be connected with them. So yes, the beads are there, but let us develop attachment for the holy name. Yes, the books are there, but let's develop some genuine realization in the heart. Yes, the Vaishnavas are there, but how much love do we have for the Vaishnavas? And yes, so many positions, so many titles, so many services. But the real thing is, what is the depth of our seva bhav, our desire to serve? That is ultimately what's going to count. And so today, in these moments that we are spending together, I'll open it up and see whether any of you have any questions or comments or reflections or realizations. But just to summarize, today I was trying to share with you that Srila Prabhupada explains that Krishna consciousness is very simple. But if we chant and we're not attentive and we're offensive, then we miss the point of chanting. If we go to the holy dham, but we don't hear from the Vaishnavas and see through the eyes of the Bhagavatas, then we miss the point of going to the holy Dham. If we worship the deities, but we don't learn to have good interactions with the devotees, then we've missed the point of worshipping the deity. If we associate with the devotees, but we don't develop the saintly qualities, then we've missed the point of being with the devotees. And if we chant, if we hear the Bhagavatam, but we don't do it in the proper way, pariprashnena, sevaya, pranipat, in the proper methodology, then the clarity from that Bhagavat Shravan won't come. And therefore we miss the point of that Bhagavat Shravan. And therefore let us always, every day we have to rejoin the Krishna consciousness movement. Sometimes they introduce us and they say, oh, and they joined in 1980 or 1990 or 2000. And then sometimes I feel like you have to join this movement every single day. When we joined this movement, we had such a simple mentality, isn't it? When you heard the kirtan, it didn't matter who was singing, how good the drummer was, and what melody they were singing. That had no consequence. You were just happy to be in a kirtan. But maybe nowadays when we hear a kirtan, we're hearing the melodies, we're hearing the beats. When we first came to Krishna consciousness and there was a class, it didn't matter who the speaker was. It didn't matter, how eloquent they were and how many jokes or how entertaining they were. It was just amazing because we were hearing the philosophy. See, in the beginning, when we joined this movement and we met another devotee, we weren't thinking like, and how many years in the movement and what positions has he held and, what's his history, who's his spiritual master. We weren't thinking any of these things. We were just, my God, here's another Vaishnav. That's wonderful. We can connect. And then sometimes I look at my life and I feel, yes, as time has gone on in Krishna consciousness, maybe we got many, many things. We became experienced. We got some knowledge. We became mature. But sometimes I feel like maybe we lost that childlike simplicity that we had when we joined this movement. And somehow or other, we have to find that childlike simplicity again. The way we were reading the Bhagavatam, hearing the classes, chanting the holy name, associating with the devotees, the way we were eager to come to the temple when we first joined this movement, we have to rediscover that childlike enthusiasm, that simplicity. And if we do, then our Krishna consciousness will go very fast. One English writer, he says, when you spiritually grow up, then you become like a child again. When you actually grow up, then you become like a child. Because a child is very, very innocent. A child is very, very simple. A child is very, very pure. And these are the qualities. If we do Pancha Anga Bhakti with these qualities, no duplicity, no hypocrisy, no anya bhilashita, all other desires out, then that kind of practice will be very, very powerful. So thank you for allowing me to share some words to purify my own consciousness. I am here with all of you, trying to find that childlike simplicity so that we can really experience the essence of Krishna consciousness. So I thank you for taking the time and being here. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Grantharaj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.
Thank you so much, Maharaj. My obeisances to your lotus feet, Maharaj. And such a nice presentation that you had, a very wonderful, very nectarian class. and how you have turned those 5 powerful limbs of bhakti into to explain your topic so simple, but you just miss it so awful. It's just wonderful, Maharaj. So for the sake of time now, we will turn to the question answer session, Maharaj. So I will request Mataji, please take the questions or realization reflections from our listeners. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Param Priya Padma Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Sorry Prabhuji, I am taking the question as a call. So thank you very much Maharaj for the nectarian class, for the wonderful presentation. And as far as that class is there, the realization is that when you talk about the simplicity of Krishna consciousness, that is very much like, I think, topmost priority of today's generation, and they have to move towards with this. Second thing, when you say about conquering of different obstacles of material life to achieve the utmost goal, to achieve the bhakti of supreme personality of Godhead. Third thing is that importance of, like Prabhu, Harilila Prabhu said, importance of the 5 powerful limbs of bhakti, which are like chanting, Mahadham, quality sangha, deity worship, sadhu sangha, steady shas, and Vaishnav seva. So these are the things, I think those are the highlights of the today's nectarian class. But thank you very much Prabhuji for coming us to the Parsati Foundation and giving us the nectarian class. Now I am requesting devotees to ask their questions. I already see there are a few hands raised. So Prabhuji, can we take the questions? Okay. Let's just start with Pradyumna Prabhu. Pradyumna Prabhu, please ask your question.
हरे कृष्णा, दंडवत प्रणाम महाराज, आपके कोटि कोटि नमस्कार आपके चरणों में. Very nice Maharaj. You came here and give us nice your association, and especially you talk about boatman example. I really like that, and you give the example of boatman. You know, you're crossing the Sri Ram to the from that river. You know, and we have to learn in our life too. You know. This is a very nice example. And also you explain about 5 angas of bhakti. And then further you said action, intention, and direction.
Attention.
Attention.
Yes.
Action, intention, and attention, you said.
That's it. Exactly, yes.
So, each sentence has a meaning. And you really enjoy, Maharaj, your class. And please come again here and give us more your association.
Thank you,
Maharaj.
Bhajam.
I met you one time, Maharaj, in last Karsik in Vrindavan. You were there.
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
okay.
Right. And then I realized.
Then my visit to the Dham was successful because I saw you.
Yes, right. So, Maharaj, next year, Maharaj, when you come in September to US, please
Yes.
come Houston and Baltimore.
Okay, yes. So we have to keep on the radar. Yes.
Yes, please,
okay.
Maharaj. Yeah.
Sure.
Right. Hare Krishna, Maharaj. I will contact you, Maharaj.
Thank you, Prajamna Prabhu. Dandavat Pranam.
I really like that deity worshipping, when you do that, and how your attitude be, you know. So, because we do service in the temple, and how you act with the other devotee and all that, when you do the deity worship. Yes. I really pay more attention to that.
We have to, sometimes in temple there are pujari wars, because everyone wants to go on the altar. So then they are, who gets the slots and everything. There can be competition. But actually, the best pujari is the one who engages all the other devotees in serving the deity.
Right.
So actually, we should always encourage and empower and inspire others to also worship the deity. Then it's actually a higher level of worshipping the deity. When Madhavendra Puri, Srinath Ji was installed, isn't it? Srinath Ji, we know now, is in Nathwar. Then he got the whole community and he engaged all of them in worshipping Gopal Ji. So real pujari means they should always encourage many Vaishnavas to serve.
Thank you.
Just a comment.
Very nice, very nice. Thank you very much, Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Pradyumna Prabhu. Now I am requesting Anjane Anita Mataji to ask her question. Mataji.
Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you so much. We really enjoyed your class. We have been hearing your lectures on YouTube, and I was asking Padma Priya Mataji, we should have him, and now she has made it happen. Thank you so much for coming here.
Thank you.
I liked your 3 points regarding the japa that you said, that you should do it with attention. So you develop the attraction, and then you develop the attachment. The 3 A's of successful japa. Thank you so much,
Thank
Maharaj.
you. Thank you so
When
much.
you come to US next month, please also visit Dayton, Ohio, near Columbus and Cincinnati.
Okay, yes, we're coming that way, I think. So we will, yes, definitely. We'll see you
Sure,
there.
Maharaj. Thank you so much for the
Hare
class.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Dandat Pranam.
Thank you very much, Mataji. I am requesting Sandeep Prabhu to unmute yourself and ask the question. Sandeep Prabhu, please unmute yourself. Yeah, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, Danvat Pranam Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Maharaj, I have many questions actually, and thank you very much for your association. But I want to ask that today I was hearing your lecture that on Kurukshetra you have given. In that also you have mentioned that we are the boat and the mission and the other are rivers, like or rivers, and the rivers on the water can how river can come into the boat, and what are the possibilities of that we have to protect ourselves, so we should not allow the water come into the boat. Can you please explain?
Yes, so I was explaining that ISKCON is like the river. The institution is like the river.
Yes.
And our spiritual life is like the boat.
Yes.
So we are living in ISKCON, and in ISKCON we have different positions, we have different responsibilities, we have different titles, and those are all opportunities to serve. So when we use those for service, it's like the boat going on the river, and then the boat will go to its destination. But the moment we allow those identities to enter into us, if we think, I am the temple president, I am a Swami, I am the Pujari, and we think that we try to own and control those positions, and we identify with those positions, then what happens is those positions and those titles and the attachment to them can end up sinking our spiritual life. So you see, like say, for example, here I am on the Zoom screen, and then it says SP Keshav Swami. So nowadays people call me a Swami. But I should never think, and I know that, who am I? I'm not anyone or anything great. I am just being given this title as an opportunity to serve. And the real thing is, what service can I do to others? But the moment I start identifying, I am a Swami, I deserve respect, I should be honored in this way, then that same title, it can bring your spiritual life down. So therefore, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is also a sannyasi. But then what does Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says? Naham vipro nacha narapatir napi vaisho nasudro gopi bhartu padakamalayor das das anudas. He says, I'm not a Brahmana, I'm not a Kshatriya, I'm not a man, a woman, a sannyasi, I'm not any of these things. I'm just a servant of the servant of the servant of the servant. So when we talk about the river entering into the boat, it means we shouldn't become attached to our positions.
Okay, I understood this. Thank you very much, Maharaj. But one more thing I want to ask, that I am into your groups also. I contact Chinmay, Himal, Yogender Sahu, etc. So how can I connect with you every month, once a month at least, if I want some guidance from you or something? How can I do it?
What we will begin doing now on the YouTube page in the community side is we will keep posting the live sessions, so you can always log on to the live sessions. Yeah.
Okay, I will wait for that. Thank you
So
very
you
much.
will.
And any one thing you want me to tell, that I'm in Tokyo actually. Here we have very nice Radha Govind temple, very nice deity.
We lost you, Sandeep. You're on mute now.
Yes,
Yes, you're
Maharaj.
in Tokyo.
Yeah, I'm in Tokyo, Maharaj. It's a we are having Radha Govindji temple. It's a world most beautiful deities in Tokyo, Radha Govindji, and I'm doing services also here. So and I'm doing 16 round chanting and 4
Amazing.
regulative principles. Any one thing you want me to do, something, anything you
No,
can
I
guide me?
think continue doing those things, and according to your capacity and your abilities, try to serve Srila Prabhupada's movement. Try to bring other people to spiritual life.
Okay.
Because Srila Prabhupada, he was begging everyone that I'm trying to spread this Krishna consciousness movement, you please help. So you're in a very important city, so try to reach out where you can, okay?
Okay, Maharaj. Thank you very much, Maharaj.
And
Thank
we're
you to
happy
Radha
you're
Parsad
worshipping
team.
the beautiful deities there, the world's most beautiful deities. Everyone,
Yes.
once the devotees, they were having a debate. Which are the most beautiful deities in ISKCON? So someone said, oh, Radha Shyam Sundar Vrindavan. Someone said, no, Radha Landanishvara, Prabhupada said, is the most beautiful. Someone said, no, Radha Madhava, Mayapur. So everyone had different opinions. And then one devotee, he stood up and he said, all of you are wrong. So he was convinced. So everyone looked at him. Everyone said, okay, so you tell us then, which are the most beautiful deities in ISKCON? And he said, the most beautiful deities in ISKCON are the ones that you serve with your heart. So whichever deities you serve with your heart, they will reveal their beauty to you, and then you will understand them to be the most beautiful. Because Premanjana Churita Bhakti Vilochana, without eyes of love, you cannot actually see Krishna. So clearly you must be serving the deities there with love, and they have manifested their beauty. So we're very happy. Please continue on, Sandeep ji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Sandeep ji, Sandeep Prabhu. Now I'm requesting Kamlesh Mataji to unmute yourself and ask the question.
Hare Krishna Maharaji, please accept my humble obeisances in your lotus feet. It's very touching for me, Maharaji, that you said that we cannot bring anything with us at the end of our life except the love of devotees in our heart. It's very touching to me, and it's very wonderful example you gave us that. And my question is, Maharaji, that what are the offenses we are doing while chanting? Because as long as my concern, my mind is wandering here and there while chanting. So is that also the offense, Maharaji, or is that just the prayas? You can say the practice.
The mind will wander, Mataji. Therefore, Krishna says to Arjun, Yato yato nischalati manaschanchalamasstiram tatastato niyam yetad atmanye vasamnayet. Krishna looks at Arjun and he doesn't say, Arjun, maybe if your mind wanders. Krishna says, Arjun, your mind will wander. But every time your mind wanders, just keep bringing it back. So when you're chanting, the problem is not that your mind wanders, but the problem is that once we know the mind is wandering, we don't bring the mind back, but we let the mind to continue wandering. That is not good. So when you're chanting and you realize, oh, no, now I'm thinking of something else. Let me again focus on Krishna, and you bring it back. Then again, the mind will go, and then you bring it back. If you keep bringing it back, then eventually what will happen is the mind will stick more and more and stay with the holy name. But in the beginning, it means you have to put some kind of effort. You have to put some endeavor. And when the mind is wandering, you can't let it wander. You have to bring it back to the holy name of Krishna. You have to try to hear yourself. Prabhupada said, just try to hear yourself chanting sincerely. So that's what we have to do.
Okay, thank you, Maharaji. One more question is
Mataji,
like
Mataji,
while chanting, can I?
Mataji, we will take the other questions, other question later
Okay,
on. We have lots of
okay,
hands raised,
okay,
so let's complete them,
okay,
and then if time
okay,
permits, we will do.
okay.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Sundar Gopal Prabhu, please unmute yourself and ask the question.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. I would really appreciate you being here. I'm driving, sorry, but just wanted to appreciate other devotees already appreciated few things which I also very much liked. You mentioned about Prakruta Bhakta, devotees, the worshipper and the deities, and no devotees or Vaishnavas in between. A very nice point. We really have to, be mindful of, going through the devotees, serving the devotees, making them happy. Then deities can be happy. So I really appreciate that point. And yes, we cannot take japa bag with us. We will have to really develop some taste for the japa, for the holy name. That definitely will go with us. So very wonderful points, Maharaj, you mentioned. And as someone else also, Harilala Prabhu mentioned that, you are coming here, US, and I see, few other devotees as well, apart from myself. We also hear you, listen you on YouTube's. So we will be very happy if you can also make it to Houston. And for that to happen, if anything we need to do on our part, I would love to know what we can do to make you come here.
Thank you, Sundar Gopal, for your warmth, your love, your kindness. We look forward to being with all of you. And yes, thank you for your point. Our relationships, I feel, if I'm honest with you, in my life, I feel that my relationships with the Vaishnavas are my most valuable asset. Practically anything I've been able to achieve in my life is only because Vaishnavas were there, encouraging, empowering, educating, correcting. Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj, he used to say, when you're in a community, look around at the relationships you have with all the devotees, and understand that these are all the people who are going to be there when you're leaving your body. Imagine, these are all there, they will all be there. And how will you be looking at them? Will you be finding fault in them? Will you be having some argument with them? Or will you have loving relationships with all these people that they will be praying for you? And naturally, from their heart, they will be wishing you well. So we should interact with devotees knowing that, yes, we all have our frailties, we all have our anarthas, but somehow or other, Prabhupada said we have to cooperate and appreciate others. And we have to work hard for that. Thank you, Sundar Gopal Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Yeah. Pranath Gopal Das Prabhu, please unmute yourself and ask your question.
Can you mute?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, Dandavat Pranam on your lotus feet. Maharaj, I had two how-to questions, but probably you answered first one on the attentive chanting, so I'll just do my second question. Maharaj, can you please provide guidance on how to develop determination on reading Srimad Bhagavatam or any scriptures on a daily basis? That determination is not there yet.
Yeah. First thing is, Pranath Gopal Prabhu, try to, first you have to make it a habit every single day. One of the reasons why we don't develop taste for Bhagavatam is because we read for 1 or 2 days, then we stop, then we have to read again. When we stop reading, what happens is that when we then pick up the book later on, after some days, it takes again time to get into the flow of reading. So first thing is, therefore we say, Nasta prayeshva bhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya. So first thing is, just keep a consistency, okay? Consistency is very, very important. Then The second thing I would say is community. Satam prasangan mama virya samvido bhavanti red karna rasayana kata. Here in a community, hear from people who have taste in Bhagavatam, because the book Bhagavat becomes available to us through the person Bhagavat. And therefore, when we're able to hear from someone who has taste, who has realization, who has faith, then when we hear Bhagavatam from their mouth, then hearing gives us the taste and the faith like that. So we should also try to hear from others. So first thing is consistency. Second thing is community. Always hear Bhagavatam in community. And third thing is coaching. What I would recommend is that there are many, many books, and there are many, many different resources and study guides, courses that are available that can help you to systematically go through Bhagavatam. And therefore, if you try to read Bhagavatam in a structure, allowing yourself to be coached by these materials, then you will gain more insight and more taste for Bhagavatam. So those are the three principles I would give you: consistency, community, and coaching.
Thank you so much, Maharaj. Dandavad Pranam. Maharaj, please do come to Houston. Please, Maharaj.
Yes, we look forward to seeing you there.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Radhe Govinda Mataji, can you please unmute yourself and ask your question?
Hare Krishna Maharaji, Dandavad Pranams. Thank you so much, Maharaji, for your nectarian class. My question was like, during the starting of the lecture, you mentioned the verse, Lob Mohe Sudurmati, something from where I could, can you please state where this verse I can get and read?
Yes, these are the prayers that we sing before we take prasadam. So this is available, I'm sure, in the, I'll just share it with you on my screen. So this is the prasadam prayers that we sing before we honor prasadam. And therefore the line I was singing was this line. Tara madhye jivayati lobhamoy sudharmati takejeta katina samsare. And basically the translation is of all of the senses, the tongue is the most voracious and uncontrollable. It is very difficult to conquer the tongue, but Krishna, you are very kind and have given us such nice prasad just to control the tongue. So this is, you can, someone I'm sure can send these prayers to you.
Yes, Maharaji. I got your point from Maharaji. Thank you so much, Maharaji, for your wonderful explanation and your wonderful katha, Maharaji. Thank you so much. We would appreciate if you if we get more of your association, Maharaji. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna, Dandavad Pranams.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Maharaji. Thank you, Radhe Govinda Mataji. Now I would like to request Vinita Mataji to unmute yourself and ask the question.
Hare Krishna Maharaji, thank you for
Hare
the
Krishna.
wonderful lecture. You said that in devotion, we sometimes become inattentive, lose interest in chanting, become judgmental and insensitive towards devotees, towards speakers also. I just want to know why these things happen to us and how to overcome this.
Yeah. In English, they have a saying, familiarity breeds contempt. And therefore, what happens is that when we're constantly in touch with something, if we're not increasing the quality of our appreciation for that thing, then what will likely happen is our appreciation will go in the other direction. Appreciation for something can never just be stagnant. Either the appreciation will increase or the appreciation will decrease. And if we're not actively going deeper into that specific thing, then it will not increase. And if it doesn't increase, then that means it will decrease. Therefore, we often tell people in Krishna consciousness, you can never stay where you are. It's dynamic. If you're not going forward, it probably means you're going backwards. And so oftentimes what happens is because in our chanting, we're not going to a deeper level of relationship with the holy name, then it goes in the other direction and we become more and more apathetic. Because we're not going and appreciating Bhagavatam in a deeper way, then what happens is we become more and more disconnected from Bhagavatam and attracted to read other things. Because we're not seeing the glory of the Vaishnavas more and more, it goes the other way and we become more susceptible to finding faults and seeing bad things in others. And therefore, we have to actively always try to engage with these 5 processes of devotional service with greater and greater quality. You see, like what you did 1 year ago in Krishna consciousness is not enough anymore. It's not enough anymore. You have to do more. It's just like, for example, if you're lifting weights, and 1 year ago you were in the gym and you were lifting 20 times. 1 year on, if you lift 20 times, you're not going to get any more growth anymore because you've gone beyond that now. Now you need to lift 30, you need to lift 40. Mike Tyson, he said, I only start counting the push-ups when it hurts. In other words, what you've done in Krishna consciousness 1 year, it's not enough anymore. We need to be doing more. It doesn't always mean quantity, it can also mean quality. But we have to constantly be upgrading, because if we don't upgrade, then we will degrade, because it's always dynamic. Yeah, hope that helps.
Thank you, Mataji. Now I would like to request Anita Mataji to unmute yourself and ask the question.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you very much for a wonderful session. Like everybody mentioned, we have a big following of your classes in Houston, and we were really looking forward for your US trip. My question is, like, I joined in the middle when you were talking about like how the DT worship, the barometer of your DT worship is if your relationship among the devotees is improving. So my question is, like, it becomes monotonous, or familiarity will creep in when you're doing devotional service. So I think you partially answered my question in the previous, while answering the previous question itself, like, how one has to appreciate and go deeper aspect of what we do in devotional service. I think that applies even in the DT worship as well. That was my question, like, how to really get deeper into it so that I don't get into the monotonous or the familiarity when I go week in and day out to do services. So, okay, this shouldn't become another one of the items that I'm doing. So I would appreciate any insight on this, Maharaj. Thank you.
Yeah, whatever we're doing in spiritual life, we should always spend some time to remember the glory of that activity. You see, one thing that I find helps me to upgrade my interaction with the 5 powerful forms of devotional service is one thing you've all heard me say before, is journaling. Because what happens is when I write a diary and when I reflect upon where I was in my life, where I am now, how these processes have changed me, how the devotees have opened up so many doors of opportunity for me, then what happens is through that journaling and that reflection, the appreciation of the devotees, the appreciation for chanting, the appreciation of having the opportunity to be so close to the deities, the appreciation of going to Vrindavan, all of these things are increasing. What I find in Krishna consciousness is that as time goes by, we tend to do less and less reflection. We tend to do more activity and less reflection. And I feel like journaling is one way which really helps me to be reflective. And you may not be a writer, or some people may not feel comfortable doing that. So then you find another way. But we have to constantly be thinking about our journey and appreciating within ourselves how much impact devotees, the holy name, the deities have had on our life. And then the next day when we come back to interact with them, we will interact with them with a great deal of appreciation, because it will be fresh in our mind that, oh my God, they have changed my life course. I have to continue interacting in a very attentive way, and so many other things will continue to happen. Hope that helps.
Thank you, Mataji. Hari Leela Prabhu, please unmute yourself and
Maharaj, very nice question answer session, Maharaj. Maharaj, I just want to make one comment that you have fulfilled my dream today by coming to Parsati Foundation. When I heard you at Govardhan during last Kartik month, I was thinking and meditating on how can I give this benefit to the Parsati listeners. So today you have fulfilled my dream. So thank you so much for that, Maharaj.
Thank you so
and
much
I hope
for
you
the
will
invitation.
keep coming to enlighten us in Srimad Bhagavatam, because you have a really in-depth knowledge of Srimad Bhagavatam and the mysteries. So that will open up, Maharaj. So we'll talk about it and see what is the mutual time, because you always most of the time you are in London, right, Maharaj?
Yes, I'm nowadays traveling, but yeah, London is the base. Yeah.
Okay, so anyway, we'll communicate and see where you are and what time is feasible. And accordingly, we will try to arrange so our listeners can get more and more benefit of your really nectarian and knowledge, wisdom that you have acquired through the so many years experience now. Thank you so much, Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, everyone. So nice to be with you. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Hare Krishna, Maharaj. Maharaj, I have a quick request. Do you have 1 minute?
Question.
Also,
Okay.
the Kamlesh Mataji, I stopped her by asking another question. So can we circle back her for a minute?
Yeah, sure. No problem.
Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you. Kamlesh Mataji, I am unmuting you. Please ask your question, which was left earlier. Mataji, you there?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. My question was like, if can we hear while chanting? So can we hear some lecture or some katha while chanting, Maharajji?
Remember, Srila Prabhupada, he said, when you're chanting, the main thing is to hear the mantra. So generally, when we're doing one anga of bhakti, then we focus completely on that, especially when it's chanting. Because otherwise, while you're chanting, then you will hear some nice point in the lecture, or something will make you laugh, or something will, grab your attention. And then it means that maybe the holy name will again fade into the background. So generally, we don't encourage that you do anything else while you're chanting. Give that time to Krishna. Give that time, because you're speaking to Krishna. You're having a conversation with Krishna. So you ask yourself, if you were to have a conversation with someone and at the same time listening to a Zoom call on your phone, how would that person feel? Not so enthused, no? But when you're sitting right in front of them, giving them your full undivided attention, then they'll be much more inspired to reveal their heart to you. So Krishna, while you're chanting, he wants to reveal himself to you. But you have to show that you are fully attentive and fully giving yourself to him, then he will give himself to you, because yatha mam prapadyante, he reciprocates. So please try to focus and see that Krishna will appear before you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, Maharaj ji. Dandavat pranam.
Thank you very much, Maharaj ji,
So
for the
Mihika
wonderful
has
session.
raised the hand, Prabhuji. Mihika has raised the hand. Does she have any question?
No, I think that she doesn't have any question. Mihika, do you have any question? I don't think so, Prabhuji. I think her question was answered by Maharaj ji, so it
Okay, so
is
let's,
okay.
yeah, we can close the call now with Maharaj permission here. Maharaj, you have given a lot of time to us, which is so nice of you. Hare Krishna. Amit Prabhu, to you.
So thank you very much, Maharaj ji, for the wonderful session and lecture, and we have took your very valuable time. So thank you very much for that one, and we are requesting that as Harila Prabhu said, that we will coordinate with you for another session very soon, and we will hoping you to see you in Houston and USA very soon in September, and try to take your personal blessings and personal association. So thank you very much, Maharaj, for the
See you
class, wonderful
there.
class.
We'll see you soon, everyone.
Yes,
Thank you.
if you allow us, can we close up the call?
Yes, of course.
Thank you very much, Maharaj.
Jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you, everyone.
His Holiness Keshav Swami Maharaj ki jai. Vancha kalptaruscha kapa sindhu bhaivcha patita nam pavnebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Hare Krishna. Hare Bol.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Ki jai.
Ki jai.
Jai.
Grace S.B. Keshav Swami Maharaj ki.
Ki jai.
O Bhaktivinoda ki jai.
Jai.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.